Hello, this is Steve Sanangelo once again from the SRS Rock Report with a new video update this week. It's called Silver Price Update Breakout to 30 or Correction Lower. Now, I know that's if or then, but it really does depend upon what happens over the next few weeks in the markets, and I'll show you why. But before I get into that, I just want to make sure that you know that at the SRS Rock Report, one of the more important things I focus on is on energy and the long-term fundamentals. When I do these price updates, I'm just trying to show what the technical traders are looking at. So if you're going to be looking at Kitco or price charts or watching the silver trade on a daily basis, well, if you're going to do that, then you should get an idea of what the technicals are saying. But that's different than the long-term fundamentals, medium to long-term, which I believe silver is one of the most undervalued metals and assets in the market. All right, let's get started. Now, before I get into the silver price update and some other information, I want to tell all the followers here who have been either watching my updates on YouTube or even new people that one of the things that I try to do at the SRSRockReport.com website, as well as on the YouTube channel, is try to educate people or connect the dots. The world is so specialized today, the left hand doesn't seem to understand what the right hand is doing because there's so much technology and there's so many levels of complexity in the market. So what we try to do at the SRS Rock Report is to bring it all back together. And we have to understand the main driver of the economy is energy. It's not finance. Finance steers the economy, and sometimes it could steer it over the cliff, and that's what it seems to be doing now, which is why the precious metals are one of the safest assets to own. But this slide, I will be showing it a lot throughout my presentations to continue to let people know, and even older followers or even new people, that the biggest problem that we face is why most analysts are providing incorrect and unreliable forecasts. Most precious metal analysts don't understand or care about energy. They seem to only care about the price, the debt, how much leverage is in the market, going back to a gold standard. But I can tell you, even if we go back on a gold standard, as Peter Schiff says, that won't change our dire energy situation that we're facing. And then the energy analysts that I have a lot of respect for, many of them are showing the problems we're facing. They don't understand or care about precious metals. I find that fascinating. Why? Well, if you understand energy is going to be in big trouble, then a lot of the paper assets, the stocks, the bonds, even real estate, they're going to be in big trouble. And so why not invest in precious metals? So a lot of energy analysts, they don't get precious metals. And then the worst of the three are the financial and economic analysts. They don't understand or care about energy or precious metals. Now, I brought this subject up before, back during when they had the virus was going on in March and April on CNBC. I was watching a little bit more of it to see what was going on, and they had 5 analysts on the screen. They were all talking from home. And one said that he goes, you know what, I don't care about energy. Energy to me is very, it's in a bear market. It's underperforming. And why should we care about energy when it only makes up 2% of the S&P 500? Well, if it wasn't for that 2%, there would be no S&P 500. There would be no economy. Because here's the challenge for all the viewers. Don't use energy for one day and tell me how far you got. You can't use any energy to cook breakfast. You can't take a shower with just cold water. You can't use any lights in your house. If you want to go to work, you can't take the car. You can't use the fuel in your car. If you take a bike and you get to work, then you can't use your computer. And if you work in a manufacturing plant, you have to just sit there because you can't use the energy that you need to use to do your job. So for one day in the middle of the week, don't use any energy and tell me how far you got. So that's how important energy is. We just take it for granted. And now this is a new updated chart that I did for my silver members. And I wanted to show you all because it's important. One of the things we try to do is to show how the silver price is, it it parallels the oil price. This is the silver price annual. These aren't spikes. This is the annual average silver price and the annual average oil price from 1900 to 2020. There's some very interesting things about this chart. We could see for a long time, silver and the oil price remained in this flat trend. And then all of a sudden in the 1970s inflation, both oil and silver skyrocketed. So there's no coincidence that when the oil price went up, it made the silver price go up. Why? Because it cost so much more to produce silver. And also investors like the Hunt brothers were trying to protect against inflation by buying silver. And then we saw the oil price sell off, and so did the silver price. And then we had the next big shock when the oil price went from $19 to over 100, went to 110. So if the oil price is going to go up, the cost to produce silver is going to go up. Now, this is a very remarkable thing that's happening right now, and I call it the disconnection between silver and the oil price. And I believe that's just going to get worse. And I'll explain that in new videos. But silver has shot up. It's now at 27. And actually, oil is now below 40. It's at $37. So we're seeing a disconnect. And this is a very important trend. This means silver is now moving more towards a monetary metal than a commodity, which it has been priced for over 100 years. Now, again, I just, every time I'm going to do a public video, I would just like to show some of the interesting articles we have at the SRS Rock Report for the silver and gold members. Now, a lot of people think as we move away from fossil fuels that we're going to move more into nuclear. Well, something interesting is happening in the U.S. nuclear industry. It's being gutted. And as I wrote about in this preview, which is it's a small article, it's going to be a much larger article for gold members. U.S. nuclear power plants are shutting down in large numbers. As the public and investors continue to be focused on the economy and stock markets, the global industry is disintegrating right before our eyes, but no one seems to notice. Because of the low oil price, from the falling energy return on investment, which I do a lot of analysis on, it's taking down the entire energy industry with it. And it's just not profitable to run a lot of these nuclear power plants. They're shutting down because of operating losses. And that's just going to get worse. I also came out with this interesting article called Something Big Happened in the U.S. Silver Market in June. If you haven't read that and you want to become a silver member, I think you'll find it very fascinating. It looks like some large entities, hedge funds, knew the silver price was heading up much higher in July and August, and they positioned themselves beforehand. We discussed that in this silver member article. All right, I do appreciate you being patient. Now we're going to talk about the silver price. In this last COT report, and a few people have asked me if I was going to do an update, and yes, I am. This is each week for the new COT report. It closes on Tuesday. So in this last week, the silver price fell net $1.65. However, we saw 2,600 decline in net short positions, and we could see that here in the COT report as of September 8th. Again, it closes on every Tuesday. So on Tuesday, the price of silver was $26.99. It was down $1.65 from the last reporting, but we see a 2,600 net short position decline. Now, if we look here at the commercials, these are the big bullion banks and the commercials, we're seeing a decline in the commercial long positions, but we're all seeing a big decrease in the short positions. Back 5 weeks ago, there was 113,000 short positions. Now there's only 102,000. So from February of this year to now September, we have seen the silver price trend higher. It's now $7 higher than it was, and the net short positions are still in half. I see this continuing to move up even higher. Let's say the net short positions are going to trend even lower as the silver price goes up even higher. Now, if we're going to look at the silver price on a short-term basis, again, this is just a short-term basis, it's setting up in this very interesting, they call it a symmetrical triangle formation. And a break above that at the end of September So here's October. I'm going to keep track of this for the next few weeks on the updates. If it continues to bounce in here and it pushes above it, this means it'll break above it towards the end of the week or the end of the month. But this depends on the broader markets and the US dollar. And I can show you right here, this is also a daily chart, but it's a year and 3 months. We've got the US dollar right here. It's in this, the candlesticks, and then the silver price is in the blue line. Now, back when the markets sold off during the global contagion, the dollar index went all the way to 104. So as stocks sold off, investors moved into bonds and into dollars, and the dollar index shot up. And look at the silver price. So the silver price is inverted compared to the US dollar. Now, as the US dollar continued lower all the way to here in the beginning of August, silver reached a high of almost $30. Now, what's happening here is the US dollar is setting up, this is called a bullish flag. It sounds crazy, the price is going down, but they call it a bullish flag because, first of all, on the RSI, this is the relative strength index, it's moving up, but the dollar was moving down. And that's a negative divergence. So it finally broke above this, and I'll show you in more detail. And here is the silver in this symmetrical triangle right now, trying to figure out which way it's going to break. If we look at a close-up of the US dollar and the silver price, there is no coincidence that when the dollar broke out of this, they call it a bullish flag, it touched the bottom, the top line. It touched it. So this looks to me like the dollar may continue to move higher to this level, which is 94.5. Again, when we look at technical analysis, it's not a crystal ball, it's not a guarantee, it's clues what traders look at. So if the dollar continues higher, then silver would break below this and it would correct lower for a while. It doesn't mean the silver rally is over. It's just part of the process for silver moving higher over the next several months and years. So again, the dollar index moving up would also be based upon what happens in the broader markets. And as you know, the broader markets have been selling off these last few weeks. And one stock that is moving the NASDAQ quite a bit is Tesla. Now, I did this chart back on Friday, 2 weeks ago, September 4th, and I said Tesla falls 25% at the lows in 4 days before recovering on Friday. Watch out below. So here we go. This is in August. Look at the price of Tesla. It went from $275 to $500. That's almost a doubling in 1 month. And if you look at this, this is a monthly chart. This is completely insane because back in October, September, October, Tesla was trading in the $50 range. It got 10 times higher. So it closed on Friday last week at 418. I said, watch out below. And then this week, there we go. Now it's down to $372. Tesla could see a continued, let's say, reversal and move higher a little bit, but Tesla is exactly what's wrong with our economy and moving our focus to these supposedly renewable energy resources that really don't work. And I explain that more in the Silver and Gold members on the SRS Rock Report. But again, if the broader markets continue to sell off the next few weeks, and the dollar goes up, don't be surprised to see on a short-term basis the gold and silver prices sell off. This is all part of the process. Now, the good news, and there's always good news, the good news is there's two things happening with the silver market. There's the paper price, and then there is the physical buying. And in the last 2-3 months, it was mostly paper buying that drove the silver price higher. It was over supposedly 200 million ounces went into the ETFs, where I would imagine maybe 20 million ounces, 25 million ounces of silver were purchased physically in the same period. So, but this is a very interesting chart because uh, when the U.S. Mint did their update, and I was following it. I was looking to see what they were going to update August. They didn't update August until the first few days in September. They usually do it the last day. That I didn't see an update. But in 1 month, in August, the U.S. Mint sold 4,447,000 Silver Eagles. And I just checked for September. They sold another million so far. But in the from August to December 2019, 5 months, the U.S. Mint sold almost 3.6 million Silver Eagles. So in just 1 month, the U.S. Mint sold more Silver Eagles than the last 5 months in 2019. So this is kind of a trend change. I think we're going to see much more demand for U.S. Silver Eagles. The premiums are starting to fall more now. So right now it's about 19 million ounces of Silver Eagles that have been sold. I think we're going to reach 25 million or more by the end of the year. So even if the silver price, paper price goes down, it's going to motivate more people to buy silver. If the silver price continues to go higher, you're going to get more people to purchase silver. So it's a win-win over the medium to long term. So to me, we're just beginning to see um, either paper buying or even physical buying of silver. We're just in the first inning or two. This is going to be something that's going to change the silver market as we know it because it's so tiny. And lastly, I do appreciate you watching the video. And again, I just want to let the viewers know that we have the srsrockreport.com website, and right here, how will energy impact gold, silver, and the entire economy? This is what we tend to focus on. This is what most precious metal analysts fail to include, and we think it's very important. So we put out these 2 new articles. They were on for silver members on energy. It's very important to understand energy. If you understand energy, you must be in the precious metals. And that's why we continue to focus on energy and why it's so important to own the precious metals. Well, I thank you for watching this last video update. If you have not yet become a subscriber at YouTube, please consider doing so. And we would love for you to check out the website. We still put out about 2 public articles a week, but we've got plenty of good content there for silver and gold members. Thank you very much.